New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft is demanding an apology. His quarterback Tom Brady had his feelings hurt, and everyone is certain Bill Belichick wouldn't know the truth if it hit him in the non-helmet protected noggin. What could be better than all this? Adding a conspiracy to the nonsense called Deflategate at the Super Bowl. This and much more from the sports business side of matters. Basking in the Arizona sunshine, ready every moment, the sports professor, Rick Horrow, joins us tonight now. Good to see you, Professor. How's things going in Arizona?
How's that? How's that for a last minute? How are you?
Good. And yourself? I mean, are you now basically, you've made all the connections. You know exactly what the conspiracy is. I take it by this time you are absolutely certain that you have the inside dope on whether or not it was a ball boy who took now not 10, not 12, but 24 footballs and took them into a bathroom at Gillette Stadium.
Here's what I say. Hang him. Hang him. There it is. Hang him.
It really, this has gotten ridiculous to this point now. But wait a minute. Isn't it starting to make some sense? Maybe.
Well, it is making some sense if there's one, let's call him a lone rogue who decides it would be a good thing to do for the rest of the organization. Robert Kraft bought a franchise for $170 million in 1994, and now it's worth $2.6 billion. I happen to think he is a marvelous statesman, and he's one of those few people that can say, look, if this happens and I wasn't complicit, nor Brady nor Belichick, you owe me an apology. And more important than that is we shift to Marshawn Lynch. I'm here, don't find me, but I'm not going to say anything. And then how about soon we shift to the vaunted Patriots offense and the Legion of Boom and the fact that this stuff happens on the field, and 111 million people watched it last time, and there's going to be even more this time. And NBC streams for 2 million unique viewers, and on and on and on about TV and about viewership habits. I'm going to Phoenix. I'll be there tonight, and I can't wait for all of this stuff to be over. And how about some good football?
The greater Phoenix area, $500 million, maybe that's even a small amount of money, an economic impact over the next week. You've got hotels almost 90% booked. Rates are 90% higher than they were last weekend. Rooms are 70% more full. Wait a minute now. Regardless of all this Deflategate and everything else, let's get down to business. When it comes down to championship games in American sports, nothing makes money like the Super Bowl, and nothing will derail this thing from making more money in the future, right?
That's really good, because I think it was a positive statement I just heard from you, which is unique and appropriate.
Frightening
and I think
indeed,
it's really,
but it does happen every now and then. It happens once a day. That was the one. Take it and love it.
I'll love it. And here's the other thing that we didn't quantify, which is Phoenix spent about $4 billion on their downtown infrastructure since the last time the game was played in Glendale in '08. And we have 20 new miles of light rail. We have 1,500 new hotel rooms. We got 30 new restaurants. And $4 billion, like I said, of economic impact. So the showcase of what a community does and open for business, that's important, even beyond the economics. And oh, by the way, national championship college football game there next year, Final Four, 2 years from then. So this begins the litany of sports and economic impact again in the Valley of the Sun.
Rick, here we go now with back to Deflategate, the money and everything that's involved here. People calling for Goodell's head once again. They're saying that he must be fired. They're talking about a further investigation. We're now talking about physicists getting involved in finding out about air pressure. But Robert Kraft is the guy who really has everything by the tail right now. He's got $1 billion industry. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry for the NFL. And I'll say something else positive for you right here. It doesn't make a difference what they find at the end of Deflategate. The National Football League will still make money. They'll still be number one in this country, and there's just no way to stop this juggernaut. How'd I do?
Well, you did great, and that's uncharacteristic Berlinerism, but I think it's a positive one. $25 billion of economic revenue they want Roger Goodell challenges his staff to do every single year. Not going to happen yet, but they're building the right way. CBS just renewed their deal. We have, and get this, 51% of a Burson Marsteller survey say that this is an American holiday, not a sporting event. 82% of those watching say that they'll tune into social media. Well, that's great, because now NBC is part of that juggernaut that they've built before. And by the way, unless you're in a cave or you're in some lunar station somewhere, if you want to watch the game live on a device or the game, you can get it.
By the way, do you think Belichick or Brady knew?
No.
Okay, good. Just wanted to I wanted to make sure that we're on the same stage.
You and I have something in common on this one, which is we're both thankfully ignorant.
No, the one thing I'm thankful for is I've been to over 24 media days. I did not have to attend this one. I am thrilled every year that happens.
You and me both, man. Why do you think I'm leaving today?
That's what I thought. All right, 3 minutes. Let's get a couple of other things in here. Bud Selig is leaving as commissioner of Major League Baseball. We knew this for a while. George Will writes this marvelous column today that talks about how it's a winning legacy. But Selig was hammered by a lot of people early on. Has he really? Is this the guy who has saved baseball financially?
He's the Ronald Reagan of baseball, meaning that he's a great communicator, and part of what he did on his regular day job was to call owners at least every other day, everyone, and check in and say, what do you think? What are we doing? He understood who his bosses were like nobody else, frankly, I've ever seen. The numbers don't lie. $800 million average franchise value, way up beyond anything else, and they're a $9 billion business. And oh, by the way, labor peace, longer than ever before. If you remember the days that Don Fear and some of the other predecessors butted heads, you couldn't believe that today is a day where if you want to invest in a sports franchise, a baseball team is not a bad investment. And as Rob Manfred takes them over, that's huge.
More money here. 3 second-tier World Cup sponsors, Castrol, Continental, and Johnson & Johnson, are not going to renew for the 2018 tournament in Russia. Is this a big deal? Because, let's face it, it's money, but the World Cup makes so much, even though they may be filled with graft at FIFA, people still want to be a part of that.
Well, yeah, but it is a big deal because these three are endemic of a lot of others who are feeling uneasy and about the same stuff. And it's a similar notion to when a lot of the sponsors pulled out after Lance Armstrong in cycling, basically changed the entire dynamic of that industry, and they almost had to start over. And so you've got 18 in Russia with their 2018, with their own set of political and infrastructure problems, obviously. And 2022 is Qatar. And Qatar can't buy climate change. And part of the World Cup idea there is that they would play the World Cup in February and change the entire world soccer schedule because of that. So people in the soccer community are upset already, and this just adds to it.
30 seconds. UT, Tennessee, raising football ticket prices almost 6.5% next season. Hey, it looks like there's a lot of programs around there that are still making money. Tennessee being one of them. They don't have to worry about dropping any sports.
I can't answer 30 seconds when you go 20 in a question. I mean, that
Come
ain't
on.
fair. Who do you
Take the
think you are?
challenge. Take the challenge. 15 seconds.
A lot of money. Tennessee won against Iowa at the TaxSlayer Bowl in Jacksonville. Their fan base is energized again. It's the SEC. It's like nothing else. Kudos to them. Continue to raise the ticket prices. They'll get them. Go Volunteers. How's that?
And the University of Miami fans are not happy about their prices going up and changing seats, but that's a story for another day. Remember, of course, the sports professor will join us. He will be in Arizona. He'll bring us back marvelous stories next week and also bring me back a souvenir hat. Have a good time, buddy. See you next week.
Large head, large hat.
Patriots all the way. You too. You'll say that as well. MidPoint continues right after this.